What's up, guys? This is Rise and welcome to another video. Today I'm showcasing a team featuring a Pokemon that's very fun to use. My rank 1 out of level 41 best buddy, Toxicroak, and going up against Professor Lowry in this first battle, who's a very good trainer that we've featured on the channel as well, so shout out to him. But a bigger shout out to Heydanis, who is the creator of this team. I did not think of this team on my own. I was watching Heydanis on Twitch, so link to his description on Twitch. 16-year-old kid that's one of the best GBL battlers in the world, extremely skilled, very articulate with his thought process. Like when he's battling, he's like, I haven't seen too many people when they battle live that are able to like specifically articulate their thought process on everything they're doing. So yeah, shout out to him. I highly encourage you to check out his channel. Link in the description. A terrific Twitch streamer that usually streams around 9:30 a.m. Pacific time, I believe. But anyway, this team features Toxicroak, Alolan, Muck, and Swampert. The Toxicroak and the Swampert are shiny, because why not? I also don't have the greatest IVs on my Muck and my Swampert, because I've had them since like Season 1 or Season 2. But Toxicroak is a really nice core breaker for a lot of popular teams in the Ultra. And I actually get a shield here with the Acid Spray, which is huge. My opponent still had 2 shields, so I figured they almost had to shield at some point, right? So I go for the Acid Spray. I get it. I swap in the Toxicroak to deal some nice damage with counter. And now I'm going to come in back with Muck to get off another Acid Spray. This will do a lot and probably get the next shield. I get the next shield, and I know my energy, right? So even if the Typhlosion had been at 100 energy, it only threw the Blast Burn and threw one more Blast Burn, so it could not have been at a it could not have been at another, or it could not have been at a Solar Beam, rather. It's 80 energy for a Solar Beam, and it only had 70 energy. So I'm able to take out the Talonflame, and then I would have outpaced the Typhlosion to another move. So a good game there against Professor Lowry running his double fire squad. And yeah, this team's really fun. It does have some weaknesses. Swampert is difficult to deal with, but I mean, we saw an Altaria lead, right? Altaria is supposed to run through this team, and we were able to beat it. All right, Gallade lead. Let's see if we can do something here. Gallade leads. I go straight into Swampert with this team, because Swampert's going to outpace Gallade and put some pressure on it. They take the Hydra. That's fine. They're farming up a lot. I probably should have CMP tied there. That would have been nice to force a shield, most likely. But I tried to sneak one in and wasn't able to do it. Again, I probably should have thrown, because now he's going to have a double shield advantage. It might dip out of here. No, he's staying. Interesting. So I know he's one confusion away from his next Leaf Blade. So I'm going to throw after just one Mud Shot. So he'll be forced to either shield or let his Gallade go. He decides to double shield, potentially. Oh, I actually tried. I tried to catch the move on my Toxicroak, so I actually swapped my Toxicroak into a Gallade, and then here, notice how I'm over farming to 5 Mud Shots to try and CMP tie the Swampert, and I am able to CMP tie the Swampert. And now, because I have energy on my own, oh no, I think I actually misclicked there. I actually wanted to come with my own Swampert. And I'm like, oh no, I definitely lose now. So I'm just waiting. What's in back? It's an Escavalier. Oh yeah, this is looking pretty bad. This is looking pretty bad. Oh yeah, I remember this at this point. I combo play here. But even if I had Hydro Cannon, the Swampert, and come in with the right Pokemon before, the Escavalier would have beaten my Muck anyway in the back. So I wasn't too upset about this one. We were pretty close. We were a couple poison jabs away from overcoming the Gallade versus Toxicroak lead and winning that one. I actually have beaten a few Gallade leads, because with this team, oftentimes if people are running a Gallade, that's like their Swampert counter, since Gallade has Leaf Blade. And if you swap your Swampert, at least in my experience against Gallade leads, they usually stay in, or at least try and get a shield and then switch into something. And then by that point, Swampert has a nice energy head start. Okay, Rise, come on. No one wants to see the good effort An editing mishap. There we go. Jeez. Oh yeah, so these are taken from Twitch. This is my bad. Someone was asking how many XL Pokemon I had for Ultra, and I showed I don't really have any. I have 3 XL Pokemon: Azu, Diggersby, and a Clefable. All right, Dragonite lead. So pretty terrible lead for this team. Dragontail as well. And I know a Dragon Claw won't KO me, so I'm debating whether I want to shield this. I do decide to shield. Questionable, because this is not going to be a good matchup. I go for a Mud Bomb bait here. Really need to get a shield. And I don't get a shield. So we are in a terrible position. We end up just letting our Toxicroak go. So we lose lead and we're down to shield. Is there any way we win this game? I have to just call a Dragon Claw here. I can't go down to another shield. Muck. Take some damage. And there's a dang Swampert. Like, how on earth can we come back from this? We chip with Dark Pulse. Switch into our own Swampert. I'm going to have to take one here because if he stays in, obviously he's going to get some more moves. Take the Hydro. Going for my own Hydro here. This is looking like a terrible situation, but is there any way we pull this off? I'm going to shield again. I need my own Swampert to take out their Swampert pretty bad. I'm over farming to try and throw off my opponent's counting, to maybe force them into making a mistake, because they should get their one before me, and I think they miscounted. They didn't account for one Mud Shot, so I'm actually going to be able to take out this Swampert by getting a Hydro, and what's in back? It's an Empoleon! And Empoleon and Swampert get to the move at the same time, and the opponent makes a huge mistake here and throws the Hydro. And I have the Earthquake stored with 1 HP in a Dream, and Swampert is going to take out the Empoleon for one of the craziest wins I've ever had. Such a terrible situation. The lead went about as poorly as it possibly could go. And we were still able to somehow come away with a win. Our opponent did misplay. They should have built up to 2 Hydro Cannons against the Muck and then 1 CMP. And finally, we get a good lead. Our whole team has some pretty good play against Kanto Muck, so it's definitely a lead I like to see. And they swap into a Clefable, so I'm just going for a Sludge to guarantee I at least get a shield or do a big chunk of damage. I come in here with my Alolan Muck. Poison Jabs, of course, are going to really chunk away, especially after this Acid Spray debuff. Acid Spray can really come in handy in a lot of matchups. I'm going to try and Poison Jab this down, but because they got those 1 or 2 charms head start, they are going to get to move. And I actually decide I don't care about Switch. I'm just going to let this thing go. I'm going to come in with Toxicroak because he might reveal what he has in back, and he does. And now I'm in a pretty decent situation because I have a Swampert in back, and I know he has a Kanto Muck, and Swampert likes that Kanto Muck matchup. I think I might just put it all... Yeah, I'm just going to take the Weather Ball. I'm going to put it all on Swampert. Because an Earthquake pretty much KOs from here. Not quite, actually. But it would put it quite low. The Politoed. And my opponent makes a nice catch. But at the same time, it's like not that nice of a catch because it one-shots the Muck. So they basically just sacrificed the Muck. I guess maybe in their head they were hoping it was a Sludge Wave. That could make sense. I had to call one. Now I'm going to shield one. And I'm going to go for the Earthquake. And after all these Mud Shots have added up, Earthquake does a little over half to Politoed. So this should KO from here. And it does. Nicely done, shiny Swampert. And we finally get a good lead that game. And we're able to take it. Going into the next one. Searching for the opponents. I've been stuck in the expert range for a while. And once again, whenever I say that, I'm not trying to sound like, oh, I'm stuck in the 2800s. Another Gallade. Can we beat a Gallade? Because I know someone in the comments has already commented that this team auto loses to a Gallade lead. Which is not the case necessarily. Look, We landed the Hydro. We snuck in a Mud Shot, so we're ahead on energy. We shield the Leaf Blade. In comes an Empoleon. And I even messed this up, I think, by baiting here. I'm going for a bait. Should have just gone straight for the Earthquake. And my opponent wins CMP here. So I am going to let my Swampert go, actually. And I'm going to counter down with my Toxicroak. And I'm hoping I can counter down before they get to a Drill Peck. And I can, which is very nice. I'm able to get off this Mud Bomb before the Confusion is able to register. So I can transfer this Confusion to my Alolan Muck, which resists it, of course, because Dark double resists Psychic. And then Poison is weak to Psychic, so it takes single resisted damage. Leaf Blade, don't have to worry about that. In comes an opposing Alolan Muck. And I'm like, oh boy, we're in a good situation. I'm going for the Acid Spray because I know he's switch locked. And eventually, even though he's probably going to take out my Alolan Muck here, I know I should be able to counter down both Pokemon remaining. So I'm feeling pretty good about this situation. I can take whatever this is, unless it was like a Sludge Wave, it might KO. But Dark Pulse can take that fine. Another move coming in, I can take it fine. And we should be able to counter this thing down. And then counter down the Gallade. Come out, Gallade, it's time to play. Toxicroak says, not today. The Toxicroak taking out Gallade in the end. A nice comeback from pretty much the worst possible lead. Except maybe like Hypno. I guess Hypno would be just as bad. But a nice 4-1 set there with this team. We're playing Septil. I play this guy all the time, and I'm not sure how to pronounce his name exactly. But when I played him on stream, I always say, oh no, if I lose, he's going to either at me or come in chat and tell me GG's. and it's all in good fun. I probably at least 50% of the time, some days it seems like 75, 80% of the time I lose. A person they usually at me on Twitter or come into the chat to say GG's. And it's fine. And I appreciate it. I appreciate people that I play that they know of me or they watch the channel and they support the channel. And I appreciate them telling me GG's. But you can see from the other perspective, I'm sure you guys have had your days where you're losing a GBL and you get kind of frustrated. I know it's just a game, but I think we all have those days where no one likes losing at anything, right? So imagine every single time you lose, you're getting messaged or you're getting tagged on social media of the person letting the world know or letting the community know and letting you know that they beat you after you just were beaten. Like, it does get a little bit taxing at times, but overall I do appreciate I do recognize, like, I'm appreciative for people like recognizing who I am in the community and adding me in those type of situations. I think he went for a too aggressive and overfarm there and ends up actually the game was already over. I still had 2 shields, so he realized he had to like try and sneak in a counter or something. So a GG's there. The landing the Sludge in the opening lead there was huge and set us up terrifically well for the rest of the game. Tox into Jelly. Terrible lead. Can we come back from it? We've seen so many bad leads. Oh my god, this is actually the game. This is the game of the century. Okay. Toxicroak into Jelly. Swampert versus Abomasnow. I'm baiting like I have Sludge Wave. Maybe I get a shield. I didn't get a shield the first time, so I'm just going for chip damage now. And I'm thinking in my head, if he lets another one of these through, I could potentially take switch advantage here. And I don't think he's going to bother baiting in this matchup. So I just go for... I shield and I go for another Hydro. And I'm thinking he's probably not going to shield. And I'm like, all right, my only chance in this game is if I can win switch here. I'm going to throw a Hydro right here to potentially force a shield. Because I know I win CMP in this matchup. And I'm going to shield again, I believe. Because I know if I have Tox on Jelly, it's GG's. And I get the farm down. Just absolutely huge. In comes Jelly. Once again, trying to prioritize my move timing. Make sure I'm not letting them get any unnecessary free energy. I land the move. I store up a bunch of energy. I swap into Toxicroak because I figure my Toxicroak is kind of dead weight against the Jelly. And now I'm like, uh-oh, Outrage? No! Aqua Tail! Which means they're probably running Gunk Shot, and they don't have Outrage, which means they're just going to be Aqua Tailing my Toxicroak, which is good for me. It allowed me to get off that. It allowed me to get off that Mud Bomb to get the last shield. I forgot at this point if my Swampert had an Earthquake or if I was short, so I come in Swampert. You saw me get kind of lucky there. I was tapping the Earthquake, and luckily I was able to... It didn't register the Mud Shot, and it allowed me to chip with the Hydro. And that Hydro basically puts this thing into Dark Pulse range. I get Aqua Tailed again. I'm just going straight for the Dark Pulse because I don't want to get Bubble Beam debuffed here or like Shadow Balled and get put into Aqua Tail range. So now I know the Dragalge needs 2 Aqua Tails to take me out. I take the first. And I think we got there one turn before the Dragalge got to its move, and we get the Dark Pulse off. And how about that win? Toxicroak into Jelly, Swampert into Abomasnow in the safe swap, and we still found a way to win. Just an unbelievable game there. Probably one of the most unlikely comeback wins I've ever had in that one. Pretty crazy. Toxicroak versus Amp, a good lead. We get repaid for our great win with a good lead. And check this out. Gengar can actually flip this matchup, which I've learned from running this team. So now I actually shield this first move sometimes. But see how much that Shadow Ball does? It does so much. We unfortunately lag a little bit there. I'm not sure if it was mutual or if we lagged. Can't really tell. But our opponent has another move. I'm going to call this because either they're going to expend all their energy with a Shadow Ball or they're just going to punch me. They do punch me. And he's going to double punch me, which is more energy than a Shadow Ball would have been. So I'm like, all right, he used all his energy. So I'm just going to come into Swampert. And, I mean, I figure he can't have a much harder counter to Toxicroak than his Gengar. So I'm like, I could be in an all right position. I'm going to go straight for a Quake here because I know I can get to 2 Quakes before I get farmed down. I expect him to shield most likely. He does. But I'm going to outpace this Empoleon because I had like a 1 Mud Shot head start. I shield. I'm 1 Mud Shot away, so I'm going to one-shot this thing with EQ, and then it just comes down to what's ever in back. And it's a Dragonite. But fortunately for us, with no shields, Shadow Dragonite is extremely squishy. It's very attack weighted, which means it can't take a hit very well. And Toxicroak is also quite attack weighted. So this Sludge Bomb will one-shot. And Toxicroak says, bye-bye. The frog slays the dragon. What kind of fairy tale is that? Frogs are supposed to kiss princesses, not slay dragons. He's in the wrong Shrek movie. But anyway, Tox versus Galv. Galv is definitely difficult for this team. It beats Toxicroak. It's got a very even matchup with Muck. And Swampert has a good matchup against Galv as long as it's not running Energy Ball. So I haven't found like the perfect way to play this yet. So if you ask me what to do against the Galv lead in the comments, I'm not entirely sure. I still haven't figured it out myself. But we lure out the Scrafty. The Scrafty is probably just going to straight power up punch us here, which is a little scary. Because ramped up, Scrafty can be dangerous, but we do have our Toxicroak. So after these acid sprays, I figure my Toxicroak can probably get rid of this Scrafty and only have to eat 1 foul play, which will hurt because it's been buffed. But I can definitely tank it. It is resisted, and Scrafty is a pretty bulky Pokemon. So Toxicroak tanks the boosted foul play. I expect Galv to come back. And the Galv is energy dry, I believe. Oh no, it's a Jellicent. That's not good. So I probably could have saved that Mud Bomb. I guess it doesn't really matter because I'm probably going to end up throwing it on the Jelly anyway. Here I'm like, oh boy. Do I call it? Nope, I get baited. I get Bubble Beam baited. Absolutely terrible. I go for the Earthquake here, which is probably a mistake, right? Because I could have farmed more, but that's fine. I think I went straight for the Earthquake because I figured they wouldn't shield. They were going to save their shield for Jelly. And I correctly shield the Shadow Ball, which is huge. And at this point, I'm just going to go straight for Hydro Cannons because he's got a shield eventually. And he actually calls it. He actually called it. Unreal. And then I'm like, yeah, after he called it, I'm just like, all right, I'm just going to keep chipping away with moves. I'm going to clear my debuff here and get to the Mud Bomb. And the Mud Bomb's going to chip away. And my Swampert's still fairly healthy, so he throws a Bubble Beam here. And I thought maybe his win con would have been to commit to a farm down there and then double Shadow Ball. But now I'm shieldless. I expect the Shadow Ball to come through. I believe he's Energy Dry, so now it's just a race. It's a race. If I can get to 2 Hydros before he gets to his Bubble Beam, I think he's still 1 Hex away. And I Hydro. And I was 1 Mud Shot away, so I was 2 turns away. He was 3 turns away. And some way, somehow, we are able to get a win there. That was a pretty ridiculous one. This team, I don't know what it is about it. It's the Toxicroak. It's the shiny best buddy Toxicroak flex. We're just able to come away with some crazy wins with this team. It's been an extremely fun team to use. And once again, I saw Haydonis, the streamer, terrific streamer, using this team. And I decided, like, hey, these are Pokemon I actually have access to. I could run this myself. And I'm always looking for an excuse to run my Toxicroak. Another Gallade lead. Can we beat 2 out of 3 Gallade leads? Can we do it? Chat. Comments. Let me know below before the game ends. Can we beat the Gallade lead? Because I know Susie has already commented, Rise, this team automatically loses to Gallade. Not necessarily, Susie. The Gallade let us get a big energy head start, and I'm like, all right, I gotta take switch here, or at least try and get both shields. There's 1 shield. Swampert definitely outpaces Escavalier. It's going to take Escavalier 26 turns to get to 2 moves. And it's going to take Swampert 28 turns to get to 3 moves. So Swampert definitely outpaces it by a lot. He does win CMP here, which is unfortunate. But shields are down. And I'm going to be able to counter this thing down with Tox. And now it's like, does the Gallade even come in? It doesn't. And because the opponent didn't want Gallade to take a Sludge, they come in with their Swampert to absorb some energy. Then they come in Gallade. And now I'm in a pretty good situation because I'm just going to try and farm as much as I can here. Potentially land a Dark Pulse on the Swampert if possible. But I do have to... I'm monitoring the health, right? And I realize I'm not going to be able to completely farm this down. So I do Acid Spray, which will allow me to farm down. And I lose CMP here, which really stinks because now this isn't quite Mud Bomb range. Hydro takes me out. My Tox is still pretty healthy. I go for a Mud Bomb here, which I'll tell you was actually a mistake. In a second, the Mud Bomb doesn't quite KO. They get to a Hydro Cannon. Will this be enough to take out Tox? It's not. And the 1 counter does more than the 1 Mud Shot. And we take the win against another Gallade lead. Unreal. So what a win that was. And I actually looked up on PvPoke after this game. If you're ever in that situation, Toxicroak versus Swampert, shields down. The Sludge Bomb, if you're only going to get to 1 move, Sludge Bomb actually does more raw damage than Mud Bomb, even though it's resisted. Just because Sludge Bomb is a much harder hitting move and it gets stabbed. So what a set there. We beat multiple Gallade leads, Jelly leads, Abomasnows into the Swampert. Just an epic set. One of my best sets of Go Battle League ever, I would say. And just in terms of coming back from tough leads. And yeah, once again, a big shout out to Haydonis. Link in the description. Go check him out. He's been getting a lot of viewers on his streams lately, and well deserved for a really good player and a chill, funny, Nice, dude. I didn't realize he was 16 as well. I thought he was probably like, I don't know, 18, 20. Just because he's very, he seems very mature and well-spoken, but he's a youngster, a young gun, and a terrific battler. So check him out. He came up with this team. We get the 5-0. We're up to 2789. I've been hovering up to the 2800s, down to the 2600s, just kind of fluctuating a lot recently, but we get a nice set there. And yeah, all that said, thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like, comment down below, subscribe if you're new. And yeah, all that said, I hope to see you in the next one. Peace.